Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Royal Instinct. Today we're going to be watching a couple videos. Walter White versus Jon Snow. How to become a nobody. How to go from a nobody to becoming a king. How Walter White did it. How did Jon Snow did it. What influence did they exude? What characteristics did they have to embody to go from somebody who had self-doubt, no status in the world, to going on to become a leader, be seen as a leader, to carve out their own place in the world. Two different styles, but both people did in the end what they felt was necessary to gain freedom for themselves, for their people, for them to live lives that were more than what they were destined to be. Okay, we live in times where people have lost faith, where people have lost hope, where people have lost meaning. And we are here at Raw Instinct, here to give it back to them. We here at Raw Instinct are encouraging ourselves to become kings, to live like kings, to live lives of luxuries. And the way we do it is by embracing our own destiny, taking it into our own hands, and going forth into the future, into the fire, into the unknown, and coming out victorious. Okay, we here are sick and tired of living mediocre lives. We are sick and tired of being controlled by the systems in place, by the powers the elites have over us. I myself am somebody who followed society's script and have ended up seeing what it was for what it was, a life where you were just stuck constantly on the hamster wheel. And I refuse to play that game. I refuse to be a cog in the machine. I am here to take back control, take back power, and I am looking for 100 people to come with me, to embrace their inner king, to establish kingdoms, to build alongside me. 100 kingdoms, 100 kings, all building alongside each other. People who truly have your backs, people who will truly encourage you to do better in life rather than just holding you back. Most people who have friends these days, their friends aren't really there to encourage them, to help them prosper. Instead, they just want people to chat shit with, lament and feel sorry for each other, and they will tear each other down. They take the piss at each other in order so that they don't improve, in order that that person themselves doesn't have to improve, because they can always have some sort of power over their friend, over their so-called friend, and they really want you to remain stuck and live a shit existence. Okay, and we are not here for that. We are here to escape the system. We're here to build new systems in place. We are the new world power. We will be overthrowing the governments. We will be establishing new lands, new nations, to do and live life as we see fit. And the way we do it here is by tapping into our own potential, by tapping into what our passions are, to tap into the things that we find interesting, and building subject matter expertise in that field, becoming subject matter experts, and going and being seen as points of authority. And in the end, we will be seen as kings and therefore be able to establish our kingdoms. But let's jump into this video.
For a second. Not because I'm about to insult you, but because Walter White was once exactly where you are right now. Walter White didn't start as a monster. He didn't start as a kingpin. He didn't start as a fearless man. He started as a loser.
And he started out as somebody who is very highly educated, somebody who is very smart. He went to university, got a chemistry degree, PhD probably. He is a master at his craft, but all he was able to do, all he was able to get, was become a high school teacher in chemistry, teaching high school kids who didn't even want to be there, didn't want to learn, they did not have that passion. And instead, I encourage you to go to places, to seek out people who understand you, who want to be taught by you, who understand the value that you bring. And now, in the modern world, in the age of the internet, you can just, go on YouTube, go on any social media platform, and you can broadcast your ideas, you can broadcast your philosophies, the way of thinking, and you will find the right people they will come along into your lives and they will treat you so much better than any of the students that Walter White had. Okay, don't become like Walter White, somebody who follows society script and end up regretting it when you are sick and old.
A high school chemistry teacher, overqualified, underpaid, ignored by his students, disrespected by his boss, financially trapped, emotionally silent. A man who knew he was capable of more, but was too afraid to demand it. And that's the part nobody talks about.
Yeah, here at Raw Instinct, what you the first thing that you have to do is you have to beat your fears, you have to let go of negative thinking, you have to let go of self-doubt. Here at Raw Instinct, the way we do it is by removing that self-doubt that is holding you back. Because my belief is that once you remove the self-doubt and fear that you have that is stopping you, your inner king is able to shine. You are able to go forward into battle, into the unknown, and become, you are allowed to unleash all the positive traits that you have onto the world without any judgment, without any fear, without any worries about how you are perceived, because you are being perceived well by the people who want you to succeed. And that is what we're all about.
People love to remember Heisenberg, the hat, the stare, the power, but they forget Walter White spent most of his life afraid. Afraid to speak up, afraid to fail, afraid to look stupid, afraid to take risks. Sound familiar? Here's the uncomfortable truth. Walter White wasn't dangerous because he was evil. He was dangerous because one day he stopped being scared. And no, I'm not telling you to...
Yeah, Walter White got to the end. He was diagnosed with cancer, and he was like, what else does he have to lose at that stage? And wherever you are in life right now, you have to remember that one day you will die. Okay, one day you will die. One day you will cease to exist, and when you do die, you'll be all by yourself, regardless of how much wealth you have, regardless of how much influence you have or don't have. Right, you are going to be by yourself. So between then and now, it is your choice about how you live your life, how you go forward in life, how you want to be remembered. And once you embrace death, once you embrace the knowledge that you will be that you will no longer exist one day, it shall give you courage, and it will give you the permission to go on and be like, well, fuck it, I'm going to be dead one day anyway. Why do I give a fuck how I'm perceived? I am going to do whatever I want to reach my goals, to live the life that I want. Because one day when you are dead, then it won't matter anyway. Okay, so you might as well be prepared to take that risk. You might as well be, don't allow anything to hold you back. Become the person that you are meant to be, the king that you're meant to be, and don't allow death, the fear of rejection, the fear of whatever it is that is holding you back to stop you.
Cook meth. I'm telling you to understand the transformation. Walter White's biggest enemy was never Hank, never Gus, never the cartel. It was his own cowardice. Look at the early episodes. He lets people talk over him, decide for him, control him. He had the intelligence long before the confidence, and intelligence without courage is just wasted potential. Then something snapped. Not overnight, not magically. It started with a single realization. I am already dying, so why am I still playing it safe?
Yeah, and that is where most of society goes wrong. They play it safe. They are not realizing that they are dying. They're not realizing they're living a soulless existence. Most of the elites, they want you to be locked up in 15-minute cities in your bedroom, plugged into the metaverse. They are robbing you blind. They are increasing inflation, keeping wages stagnant. They are bringing more labor supplies into the country via migration, which is why you see world economies falling, failing. And the people at the top, the people who are the decision makers, are telling you lies to your face. They are telling you one thing, that they are doing the best they can for you as a citizen. However, they are robbing you blind behind your back. They are selling assets off to the world, and they are selling out their people, the people that they're meant to lead. And I am somebody who realizes what is happening, and I do not play by those rules anymore, which is why I am leaving. I am establishing my own kingdom. I am playing by my own rules. So, at some stage, you have to realize this, like, if you're living a life that you're not happy about, the first thing you have to do is you have to realize that nobody has the best interest for you. Okay. only you yourself are the only person who truly wants you to succeed. And which is why I'm looking for the people here at Raw Instinct to find a group of people, a group of 100 people who truly care about their own success, care about their own goals, and in time we form a group that where you can truly rely on each other, form friendships. So when the wars come, when shit hits the fan, when the economic financial crises come, when war erupts across the world, that we are here protecting each other, fighting side by side. Our nations, our kingdoms, our islands next to each other, protecting each other from the oncoming assault.
Most people wait for death to wake them up. You don't have to. Walter stopped asking for permission, stopped needing approval, stopped apologizing for existing. That's the real lesson. The moment he walked into that classroom and said, "This is not a discussion," that wasn't about power, that was about self-respect. Fear makes you polite. Fear makes you quiet. Fear makes you small. And
Yeah, I do not want you to be somebody who's walking around polite, being polite, just for the reason not to get noticed, not to get spotted. Be polite in the sense that like if an old lady asks you for directions, like, yeah, give her the directions if you know where the bakery is that she's looking for. But there's a lot of people who have no reason to be the receiver of your politeness. Okay, most people are your enemy. Most people do not want the best for you. Most people are ready to sell you out. And when once we become a surveillance society, once we are in essence running a feudal capitalist surveillance nation, people will literally stab each other behind the back. They'll be like, oh, that person didn't put out their bins on this day, and they will try to get you locked up, because it will be a crabs in a bucket mentality. It will be a race to the bottom, and before you get to experience that, before that realization happens in the world, I want you to escape. I want you to form your own kingdom.
society loves scared people because scared people are easy to control. Walter White became terrifying, not because he hurt others, but because he refused to be stepped on anymore. Again, don't copy his crimes, copy his shift. He stopped seeing himself as a victim. He stopped waiting for life to be fair. He stopped lying to himself. Most people fail not because they're stupid, but because they're afraid of becoming who they really are, afraid of judgment, afraid of responsibility, afraid of standing alone.
Yeah, we'll be jumping into another video right at the end about the Dunning-Kruger effect, why most people who you think are competent, most people who you think are smart, actually not more any intelligent than you are. They just are not bound by fears. They are not bound by self-doubt, so they are able to express themselves fully, to the point of where you're like, oh wow, that person, he really knows what they're talking about. He doesn't hold back. He is confident enough to say what's on his mind, and that is the position that I want you to get to. I want you to be confident in your own skin, in your own abilities, in knowing that what you have to say is of importance, is of benefit to people. Don't allow self-doubt to hold you back.
Walter accepted responsibility, fully, for better or worse. That's why his presence filled the room. That's why people felt it when he walked in. Confidence isn't loud, it's decisive. If you feel like a coward, ask yourself this: where in your life are you still acting like early season Walter? Where are you staying silent when you should speak? Where are you settling when you know you deserve more? Where are you choosing comfort over growth? Because the difference between Walter White and Heisenberg wasn't chemistry, it was choice. The choice to stop being afraid. But let me break it.
Yeah, fortune favors the bold, and don't allow your fears, your self-doubts to hold you back. Okay, that is how Walter White was able to let go, because he was staring death in the face, because he is somebody who was diagnosed with cancer, and then he knew he was going to die anyway. It was very critical, his situation, and then he was like, how do I provide for my family? How do I make sure that they are taken care of? And that's when he let go of any fears that he had. He was like, well, if I get caught by the police for doing something illegal, I'm going to die anyway. I might as well go all out to make enough money for them to make sure that they're okay, right? Before you ever are taken ill, before you ever have a diagnosis that is severe, terminal, I want you to make the decision while you're still fit and healthy, right? Like, imagine if Walter White, he had that instinct with him his whole life. Imagine if he, at age 20 decided to become Heisenberg, right? Like, not become a kingpin drug dealer, but what I mean is to be bold, to take risks, to not take shit from anyone, right? Like, how far could he have gone? He would have been the CEO of a multinational company, and that is what we're doing here. You might be good at chemistry, you might be good at physics, you might have great ideas, you might be a philosopher, and I want you to be the king version of that. I want you to become a physics king. I want you to become a chemistry king. I want you to become a philosopher king, because that is what we're doing here at Raw Instinct. I am here sending out the bat signal. I am assembling the Avengers. This is the point in the film where you decide whether you are a hero or you want to remain Walter White cowering away in the back, or whether you decide to embrace your shadow and become Heisenberg. Okay, the choice is yours, right? I'm not here to convince you. I'm not here to persuade you to do anything. It is your choice at the end of the day. And those people who make the choice to progress in life, to start something fresh, start something new, become a king, I'm here looking for those people. I'm here to talk to those people, plot with those people, come up with new creative ideas and strategies to take over the world.
Down even further, Walter's transformation wasn't about a single act of courage. It was about hundreds of tiny choices, day after day, that chipped away at his fear. The moment he decided to drive with Jesse to cook his first batch, he felt the weight of his cowardice, but instead of turning back, he leaned into it. And every single time he felt fear after that, from standing up to Crazy 8, to confronting Tuco, to
if you think about the actual story of Breaking Bad, so you have Walter White, obviously main protagonist. He is riddled with fears, anxieties. He is a little scaredy cat inside of an adult body, right? But he decides to cook meth, right? So he's going towards a goal of cooking meth and making money, right? So that decision alone cascades into the series that basically unfolds, the story that unfolds in front of you, is all comes from that decision that he made. So whether you want to be successful, whether you but you maybe don't know how you can become successful, you just have to make a choice first, that, all right, I'm going to do this thing, and from that, doing that thing, let's see what other scenarios I have to be put in, what other opportunities may arise. Because he basically decides to cook meth, he meets Jesse, they cook meth together. And then from there, you have all the crazy adventures that they go on to. Then in each adventure, right, meeting Tuco, meeting Gus Fring, all these people, meeting the cartel, all these people that he has to meet, right, is a high pressure situation, and he rises to the occasion each time. Okay, you see him season 1, season 2 fumbling through it. By the end of it, because he's done it so much, because he's put himself into those tough situations, he becomes a whole new person, right? It is literally like a like a diamond being forged by the pressure, right? And that is what you have to do. That is what you have to embrace. That is what I will help you with, how to embrace the unknown, how to embrace high pressure situations, because if you was to live your life the way Walter White did, by taking risks and seeing what those high pressure situations will turn into, a year from now you'll be a not totally new person, but a new version of yourself, a more calmer version, right? You'll be the person who basically, like the Buddhists, they want you to meditate in a cave for 50 years. But I say, fuck that. Instead of meditating, let's take risks. Let's become high pressure versions of ourselves. Let's become kings, right? We'll be the ones who are victorious, because, it won't be you by yourself. It'll be alongside me. It'll be alongside the other kings here at Raw Instinct, because we are here battling together, forging new alliances. We are here forging new nations. We are here building our kingdoms, and I want you to succeed. But the choice remains yours. It is in your hands. It is the decision that you have to make.
Negotiating with Gus, he learned that fear doesn't disappear. It becomes a tool, a signal, a challenge to be met. Walter teaches us that being a coward isn't permanent, it's a temporary state, a habit, a way of thinking that can be broken. The key is recognizing it, naming it, and choosing to act anyway. Think about his relationship with Skylar, with Hank, with Jesse. Every interaction he had was layered with fear, but over time that fear turned into decisiveness, strategy, and confidence, not because he was born that way, but because he kept practicing courage until it became second nature. And here's the paradox: the more dangerous Walter became, the freer he felt. Not freer because
Yeah, and that is what I want you to live in. The normal society, the societies that the elites have built, that you currently live in, you have to ask yourself, do you truly feel free to speak your mind, to do what you want? And if the answer is no, then you have to chase that freedom. You have to go towards that freedom. And if you want it, you have to be able to take risks. You have to be able to be able to handle yourself in high pressure situations. And if you're able to have those characteristics, right, you might be a boring person. Okay, you might have no personality, but if you are able to take that pressure, if you're able to handle that pressure and be courageous, right, your personality will build. Naturally, you will become charismatic because you can just handle more tension than other people, right? People will feel at ease around you. People will see you as a point of authority, right? They will, what's the word? They will defer to you instead of deferring to themselves. And that is the position I want you to be in. I want you to be able to trust yourself. I want you to be able to handle that pressure. I want you to become a king. Join us here on Royal Instinct.
he broke laws, but freer because he broke his mental chains. Freer because fear no longer dictated his choices. You can do the same in your life, not by breaking laws, but by breaking your own limitations. Start with small acts, a conversation you've been avoiding, a risk you've been scared to take, a dream you've been putting off. Each step is a step away from cowardice. Each act is a little piece of Walter White's mindset, not the crime, the courage. And here's the truth nobody tells you. Once you start, fear doesn't vanish. It sticks around like a shadow. But you stop letting it control you. You start controlling it. You start using it to fuel your decisions. So if you feel like a coward,
and you have to remember that a lot of the time, the things that hold you back, the fears that we have, is a fear of humiliation, of a fear of being seen as a failure. If you try something and it doesn't, you can't pull it off the first time, it doesn't fucking matter, right? Because you get to try again the next day, and we keep trying, we keep improving, we keep getting better every single day. And after a while, you stack up so many failures, right, that you're able to identify what went wrong, what you need to correct, okay, which is when you actually truly level up. And then you go through that cycle so many times that you end up better and better and better than everyone else around you, and they wonder how you did it. You are then seen as a deity, you are then seen as a mystical creature, a god, and people will be bending down to you, people will be looking towards you for your blessings. You'll be able to trust yourself. You will feel free to do anything that you want. You'll be living like a king because you went through that cycle of improvement, that cycle of failure to get better in life. Don't be afraid of failure. If I was afraid, I wouldn't have never made this channel, right? Because I'd be like, oh, no one's going to watch, no one's going to do this. But plenty of people watch, right? I've had many people reach out to me, many people working with me. Some people want to start their own YouTube channels. I help them with that. Some people are running their own businesses, and we are helping them improve their leadership abilities. We are helping them improve their marketing to sell more of their products. We are helping each other in many different ways. Once we make more and more money, once we are buying our private islands, then we'll have each other's back because we are the only people that we can truly trust. Okay. But if whatever is holding you back, I'm here to help you. Let me know what it is that you need help with.
Today, good. It means you're standing at the same crossroads Walter White once stood at. It means you still have a chance to stop being small, a chance to refuse being stepped on, a chance to choose courage over comfort. The transformation is yours for the taking, and it doesn't need a hat, it doesn't need a nickname, it doesn't need meth or chaos, it only needs you and your willingness to act. Remember this, Cowardice is not a life sentence. It's the first chapter. The next chapters are written by your choices. So, what will you do next? Stay the same or become your own version of Heisenberg? Because the only thing standing in your way is your own fear. And Walter White already showed us how to defeat it.
Yep. And that is what I want you to do. I want you to defeat your fears. I want you to defeat your self-doubt in order to remove those blockages. So then you are free to be your charismatic self, to be your true self, the one that you want to be, the one that you envision to be. Okay. Yesterday we discussed Alexander the Great. His whole life, from the day he was born, he was told by his mother, he was told by everybody what a great prince he is, what a great leader he will become. So every step since childhood that he took helped him to gain more confidence in himself, in his ability to see his own divinity, to see that it was his God-given right to become a leader. And then he was able to take that confidence and, conquer, all the known land at the time and the unknown lands at the time, right? He was able to go past where the map stopped and carry on into East, into Asia, into India, and conquer that land as well. Okay. But he had the benefit of having been born into a great environment for himself to feed his ego, to feed his confidence. And you might be somebody who doesn't have the luxury of that. You might be somebody who doesn't have the anybody at home telling you how great you are. You might have nobody here to do that. Okay, which is great, because then you are a self-made king. You are a person who comes from nothing, is able to convince himself, to beat your own demons, to beat your own blockages, your own self-doubts, the things that are holding you back. You're able to overcome that. And once you're able to overcome that, nothing can stop you. You can then go on to take over the world, to create a legacy even greater than Alexander the Great. But let's jump into Jon Snow and see what he has to say.
Called king, he forges the one alliance that makes his rule possible. In a broken hut at Hardhome, Jon ends a conflict that has lasted for centuries.
So, we just saw Walter White. He was able to do it by embracing challenges, embracing his fears, and working, taking courage and working despite his self-doubt, his cowardice. Whereas Jon Snow, he is the bastard of Winterfell. He is the bastard of Ned Stark. He decides to give up any titles, any claims to titles, and join the Night's Watch. And yet he is able to, become a great leader. And the way he does it is by convincing others, forming allies to conquer territories, to conquer new territories, which is what we're doing here at Raw Instinct. We are forming alliances. We are forging our nations next to each other. And you have to be able to, again, go into places where you might be afraid to, for the greater rewards that might come if you was to take that risk.
One that's already cost him friends, the woman he loved, and turned the North into the perfect breeding ground for the most dangerous force the world has ever seen. So why was this the exact moment Jon Snow became king? What did he say, and why did it work? More importantly, what can we learn from it?
I do know some things.
It all starts with intention, what Jon wants. As Jon Snow sails towards Hardhome, he isn't greeted as a savior. He's met with stares of contempt, confusion.
Jon Snow is somebody who is fighting to uphold his vows that he made at the Night's Watch, saying that he's going to protect the realm from the evils that are beyond the wall, basically. And he realizes that if all the wildlings become, if they die defeated by the Night King and join the White Walkers, the army of the dead, then he will face a even greater onslaught and even greater threat in the future. So he's trying to nip it in the bud as early as possible for him, basically, which is why he decides to take that risk to go into Hardhome at the time, because he realizes that either way he's going to die. If he waits and the Night King's army grows larger, then he's going to face an even greater enemy and potentially die then. Or he can nip it in the bud, save all the wildlings now, and help add them to your own army in the future battles to come. Okay, so you might be afraid, you might be worried about something, but if you do not act now, if you don't act early, then in the future it might be a greater challenge to overcome, right? Which is what we are seeing here. If you don't forge your own nation now, if you don't forge your own kingdom now, in the future, when everything is under the full control of the surveillance, technocrats, um, who will run their economies on digital IDs, digital currency, digital central bank currencies, watching every one of your transactions, allowing you to buy meat, or making sure that you don't, keeping you imprisoned in your 15-minute cities, keeping you depressed, keeping you lonely, right? But then it'll be too late. Then you won't be able to get on the internet anymore. You might not be able to meet the right people that you need to meet. So before you are truly imprisoned and trapped, act now, or end up facing a larger enemy in the future.
And a looming hostility. The mission wasn't even fully supported by his own men. Many in the Night's Watch see the Free Folk as the enemy. Helping them feels like betrayal. And yet, Jon makes the trip anyway. Why? Because he's already done the math. Jon believes everyone north of the Wall is going to die, and when they die, they will make the future fight that much harder. He learned as much from...
Yeah, so exactly what I said there. I predicted it. He anticipated the future enemy and the size of the enemy, so he is trying to nip it in the bud right now.
Month's Raider, a man he fought against and killed, but respected.
So, you know how I got moon worshippers and cannibals and giants to march together in the same army?
No.
I told them we were all going to die if we don't get south.
He understands the mechanics of the threat, that every death...
Yeah, one thing that Jon does is, which is great, is he is willing to learn and observe from other people who are at the time above his station. So he is learning from Mance Rayder how to unite all the wildlings, and then he is throwing that same playbook back at the wildlings, and he's able to unite them and trust him in essence, which is why he becomes their new king, which is why he becomes the king, which is why he is the king that was promised, because he was able to take all this knowledge, right, implement it himself inside his soul, move forward, take risks without thinking twice about his own safety.
Is a recruitment for the Night King. So Jon makes a decision that's actually rooted in outcomes. If he can move the Free Folk south of the Wall, he changes the balance of the coming war. This is the mark of a real leader. Jon is not reacting to the present. He's acting for a future most people can't see yet. Jon's done this before.
Yeah, and that is what I'm here to do. I'm acting for a future that most people are blind to. Right? If you ask most people about what will the world look like in 2030, they have no idea what is coming, right? However, if they've done a little bit of research, if they open their eyes, they would literally be able to see the agenda 2030, what the World Economic Forum have in mind, the plan that they want to implement to unleash upon the normal everyday people of the earth. It is in their messaging. They want you to own nothing and be happy. They want you to be living in 15-minute cities. They want you to be living in a cashless society. They want to be able to use cryptocurrency to track every single one of your transactions. They want to see what you're posting on social media. If you're saying anything against the state, against the people in power, then they will take away your money, they will take away your freedoms, and then you will be punished for it, okay? Until you are in line with their messaging, until you are a good little slave, a good little peasant, doing as you're told, and not causing any problems. Well, what is your reward for not causing any problems, right? Because the dating market is fucked, the economy is fucked, people aren't able to, make ends meet. They're living in a cost of living crisis. The dating market is fucked to the point of where, most men under the age of 30 haven't had a single date. They aren't having sex. We are living in a time where birth rates are falling. Women are flying around all over the globe. Fucking rich billionaires, they are literally selling themselves. And that is not a life that I want to live in. That is not a world that I want to be part of, which is why I'm creating my own path in life. We are here becoming the new elites. We will be taking over. We will be offering mankind a new solution, a new way of living. And what we have to build the lands, we have to build our nations, we have to build our kingdoms. To do so, I want you to join me. I want you to take part in it. It's all about first move advantage, right? And I believe that the 100 people who join me first, it'll be us who will be strongest. It'll be us who are able to transform the world. And then, it'll be us who get to reap all the rewards. Okay. We have the choice of all the women that we want. We will be living lives of luxuries. We will be living in mansions and castles. We will be eating the best foods. We will be living the best lives. And if you want to be a part of it, if you want to take part, if you want to do something about your current circumstances, then reach out to me. Let's see if we can work together.
Like when he leads men to deal with the mutineers at Craster's Keep, he sees the future others can't.
We need to ride north and kill them all.
We just went over this, boy. Justice can wait.
It's not about justice. I told the wildlings we had over 1,000 men at Castle Black alone. Carl and the others know the truth as well as we do.
But Hardhome is different. The stakes are different. Muntz told Jon he united 100,000 wildlings together. That is a continent-changing army.
Think about it. If I'm able to unite 100 people, 100 kings, right, and then each one of you, goes forth and then unites another 1,000, right, and we each keep getting more and more people into our army, into our lands, right, into our kingdoms, we will become unstoppable. We will become undefeatable. We'll be able to fight any enemy that comes across our way. But we have to prepare now. We have to make that decision. Do we want to be somebody who is fighting in the, army where there is no hope, there is no future, where the leaders of that world worship AI? Or do you want to be a part of your own army? Or do you want to be a part of the army that is fighting for the rights of people, for humanity, for a better world, for a better future, for your children?
Jon doesn't want that army to join the Night King. That's who Jon sees as the real enemy. An undying necromancer who has the patience to wait 10 centuries to get what he wants. Jon has to figure out, how can I convince people who see me as the enemy that we're not?
We're allies.
You fucking traitor.
The moment Jon lands, he's blocked. The camp is full of people who don't care what he has to say, and they never will.
For people who don't care what you have to say and never will, just tell them to fuck off. They can go back into the cold. You have to throw away those people. They will never join you. They will never see you as a king. So, give them the choice to accept you for who you are. But if they do not accept you the way that you see yourself, throw them away. Don't allow them into your kingdom. Allow them to die a slow, painful death outside the gates of your kingdom, outside your castle walls. The reason for that is because, they will disobey you at every given opportunity. Okay. I give you an example here on this channel. I get hate comments all the time. People saying that, what I'm saying is nonsense. They don't believe in my messaging. They don't believe in what I have to offer. And that they think that I'm just doing attack videos for the sake of trolling, when they do not realize that the real messaging is to find the people who buy into the message, who understand the message and want to take part of it. Okay. This is a opportunity to do something that is beyond yourself. This is an opportunity to become someone greater than you ever imagined that you would be. This is the opportunity to fulfill all your ambitions, right? And most people don't see it that way. Most people are too blind, too stupid, too small to dream that big. However, the people who watch this type of material, this channel, the people who understand what it is that I'm trying to accomplish, they are greatly appreciative. And they, they're the ones who end up working with me. They're the ones who end up sending me very thoughtful messages, very thoughtful emails about what they're doing, what they're attempting, getting advice, picking my brain, and I'm helping to help them, right? Because I know in the future, in the next couple of years to come, in the wars to come, we will be fighting alongside each other, side by side.
They are dominated by hate, fear, vengeance, or simply driven by instincts of protection against a known enemy that has killed them and theirs for hundreds of years. This is why it's important, very important, to have a referral. Without Tormund, Jon never even gets the meeting. Tormund is the bridge. He's the proof of trust that Jon doesn't personally have. Jon was able to convince Tormund, which gave him hope, but the first person they talked to...
This is why you need to build alliances. This is why you need to build new friendships, people who can get you introductions into bigger and better places. Here at Raw Instinct, we are making those introductions online, on the internet. I'm making a video about Walter White and Jon Snow, because if you're a fan of Jon Snow or Walter White, you're more likely to click on that video. And once you click on that video, then you are exposed to me, then you get to meet me. But Jon Snow and Walter White, I am using them to make an introduction between me and my viewers. If you understand what that means, right? If you understand what I've just said, okay, that means you are thinking at a higher plane. That means you are understanding of what it is that we're trying to achieve here. We're here to create a new global network, okay, a new global network of kings, and I want you to be part of that network.
Makes it really clear they will not be able to convince everyone. But we're here. We're doing this, and it's way too late to turn back now. When Jon stands before the leaders of the Free Folk, he has to convince some of the most fierce people on the planet, people who think he's their enemy, to join him. What he does is smart. He doesn't apologize. He doesn't make excuses or justifications. He doesn't try to be charming or liked. None of this is necessary to achieve his goals anyway. In life, these things typically help you, and they make it way easier to get the deal done. But when both factions have been at war for such a long time, sameness and likability are simply impractical and a waste of time. Instead, Jon goes straight to the most powerful motivator humans have: survival.
This isn't about friendship.
Yeah, and this is what this channel is about. It is about survival, because you are not surviving in your current circumstances. You might have a good job, you might make a little bit of money, you might be able to splurge on a few luxuries, but remember that the elites, the people in charge, the global billionaires are shitting on you every single day, and I want you to have access to everything that the world has to offer. Okay, why think small? Why stay small? Okay, dream bigger. Okay, accomplish bigger things than you ever thought that would be possible. And the way to do it is to come together, geniuses, people who are experts in their field, to unleash your own genius, to bring about new insight that only you can come up with, right? Because everybody is unique, everybody has their own perspective, and you might have an idea in your head that can really truly transform the world, right? And meeting someone else here at Raw Instinct, bring about those people into the same vicinity, the same rooms, and coming up with ideas together might be what the world needs to bring about a new path, a new course, trajectory for mankind, because the trajectory that we are headed towards right now is one of doom and imprisonment, enslavement for 99% of the world. Instead, I want us to be part of the 1% who change that trajectory and form a better future for everybody. But I do not trust anybody else to make those decisions. Okay, I only trust myself. And if you trust yourself, if you want the best for humanity, then I know for a fact that we could work together. We probably share similar goals. We share a similar mindset, similar beliefs, in order to help the people that we want to protect. But the decision makers have to be us. It can't be anybody else, because nobody else can be trusted apart from the people at Raw Instinct.
This is about survival. This is about putting a 700-foot wall between you and what's out there.
I mean, it's the reason the Free Folk are gathered together in the first place. Let's not forget, this is still a set of tribes. Months united them all, but they still have their segmented loyalties. Jon's best move is when he shares a gift. a gift he can give to each tribe leader. This addresses them more individually. Dragonglass is a defense against their greatest threat, the White Walkers. It's something they never had before. With this move,
yeah, and what we do, the gifts that we offer for the people, for mankind, is to build our kingdoms and gain entry to our kingdoms, to gain entry onto our new land, the new nations that we are building. Because, we do not discriminate. We allow people to come in who we believe will be great additions to us, who will be great additions to our new kingdoms that we are building. However, people who want to just talk shit, not improve their lives, not just buy whatever the government is selling, buy into the lies of the media, live a brain rot life, waste away, not believing what is actually truly happening in the world. Those people can just then go fuck off. They can go live their mediocre lives that the world elites have in plan for them, whilst we will be living great lives. We'll be eating great food. We will have the best opportunities in life because we dared to go beyond what we believed was possible.
He signals two things. Number one, running isn't your only option. And two, he's a man who has solutions you've never even thought of. This gesture also creates curiosity.
Yeah, I mean, who else has thought about starting their own countries? Who else has thought about starting a kingdom? Who has thought about uniting 100 kings together in order to fight the evil that is in the world? Nobody else has ever thought about that. We are the first here at Raw Instinct, and it is about first move advantage. I'm sure somebody is going to take my idea and try to steal it and make it as their own, but who came up with it first, and you are the ones who will be joining first. You have the power to become a king.
This is ideal because things like hate can be pushed aside, even if it's just for a moment, at least until you've heard him out.
I knew Mance Rayder. He never wanted a war with the Night's Watch. He wanted a new life for his people, for you. We're prepared to give you that new life. If you swear you'll join us when the real war begins. But I'm asking you to think about your children now.
Yeah, join Royal Instinct before the real war starts, before the real battle begins, when the real battle begins, we need to be far away. When you have fucking Russia, China, and America and the West all at war, we need to be far away from those battles. We need to regroup on our own private islands, in our own private lands, where we won't have any nuclear fallout, where we will be able to live life how we see fit, live a life of freedom, where we are free from the problems that AI will create. I watched a video the other day, and I think I'm going to be discussing it maybe tomorrow, where Sam Altman says that, AI is so dangerous that it can possibly cause another bioweapon, another, bio attacks. And by that, I mean something like, C-19, another flu, another illness going around, spreading across the world, but literally being fatal this time. The AI can engineer something like that, but then AI can also engineer a vaccine to stop it. I'm like, well, rather the thing that fucking produces the dangerous result, right, the dangerous bioweapon, but let's just stop that in its tracks. But no, these people are hell bent on destroying the planet, which is why also Sam Altman is buying his own private bunker. They're trying to make Greenland into their own, private land, their private bunker, for when there is a nuclear fallout, they are easily ready to escape and hide away, while we all have to deal with the consequences of their actions. I never subscribe to any of their bullshit. However, they make decisions on behalf of the people, on behalf of me, which I do not subscribe to, which is why I have decided to tell them to fuck off and establish my own kingdom, so I can be the decision maker, and then we can raise an army to overthrow the current leaders.
They'll never have children of their own if we don't band together.
Yeah, and you're seeing that right now. The West is not having children. People are not having children. Most men are not procreating. The there are no more women to marry who are worthy of marriage. Most people, most of society is doomed, and the future that the elites have created is looking pretty bleak. And I am forging a new society, a new future, and I want you to take part in that.
The long night is coming, and the dead come with it. No clan can stop them. The free folk can't stop them. The Night's Watch can't stop them, and all the Southern Kings can't stop them. Only together. All of us. And even then it may not be enough, but at least we'll give the fuckers a fight.
Yeah, and you need to have that courage to, even if you believe that the odds are stacked against you, that that you're going to try with everything in your power to stop the evil that is in the world, to stop the enemy that is coming towards you, who is trying to ruin your future, right? At least don't just bend over backwards, lube up your arsehole and allow them to slide in. No, instead I want you to fight back. I want you to pull yourself together, pull out all your strength, and push them out of positions of power, because it should be us who is in power. It should be us making those decisions, because we're the ones who have the best interest for the people of the earth. Whereas people like Sam Altman, Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, they just want to worship the AI gods. They just want to watch the world be unemployed, be displaced by AI, and then what use is there for most of the people? Okay, the people at the top, the elites at the top, will have places to escape to, while the people at the bottom will die out, in essence, right? Whether we're killed off by a bioweapon, a new C-19 COVID style, whether it's just by depression, right? Just because your life is so fucked up and you're just gooning away to porn, whether you're just taking drugs, binging out on alcohol, rotting your brain on TikTok, and just dying away in your bedroom, right? While you're just watching porn until your last breath of air. That is not the future that I want. That is not the future that I signed up for. I want to live life. I want to enjoy life. I want to live like a king. And I have decided to go for what it is that I believe is truly mine. And if you have any ambition, if you have similar goals to me, then I want to hear from you.
This proposal aligns with what they were already trying to do. In a way, this honors Munce's legacy, finishing what he started, getting the free folk south of the wall. What Jon is doing here is he's aligning their interests. Coming south of the wall benefits us both. He also is reframing their centuries-long war. Our fight is trivial compared to the fight to come. Jon also tries to reduce resistance by making it really easy to say yes. I have ships that can take you south right.
Yeah, you have to realize this, what choice do you have? Do you stay in your current position and just wither away and die, with nobody knowing who you are, with nobody knowing who your children were going to be, with no one knowing what you were truly capable of, right? Or do you decide to fight back, to try something new, to attempt to live a better life than you currently are, right? To go for your dreams. And you never know, right? Like, this might be the beginning of something that the world has never seen before, that the world has never thought of, because only you were able to come up with the answer, right? But if you don't have the courage, like Walter White showed, if you don't have the belief to go beyond, like Jon Snow did, then those ideas, that better future, dies away with you. Okay, so it literally, the decision to become a king is in your own hands. Nobody can crown you, only you can crown yourself. Okay, so make that decision. Wherever it is, let me know what your decision is. What are your reasons for not becoming a king or living a better life than you currently are? Because it's only going to get worse, right? All you gotta do is look into, what the predictions are for the stock market. All you gotta do is look at the predictions, possibilities of war between China, Russia, and the rest of the world, and tell me that when nuclear powers go to war with each other, that is going to be a good outcome, right?
Right now. Jon arrives as an enemy, but with his referral from Tormund, he gets a chance to speak. He doesn't threaten or beg or try to be liked. He presents facts. There is us or there is death. He presents this with conviction that this is our reality. This sets up a decision for the free folk. Stay in the north with this looming threat, or take a chance with their enemy that doesn't seem like they really want to fight anymore. Either way, the free folk retain their agency, and that's why it lands. This moment changes Jon's trajectory from Lord Commander to King. And again, none of this happens without alliances. Without Tormund, he doesn't even get a chance to speak. The value of a strong referral.
Yeah, I mean, the choice is yours, right? So no one's forcing you to do anything. No one's forcing you to, become a king. Nobody's forcing you to become a slave. That choice is being made for you, right? Slavery is coming, right? But the choice to do something about it remains in your hands. You have that freedom. Okay, it's going to be it might be a hard struggle, but here on Royal Instinct, we make it as easy as possible because we create an environment where you are able to, be truly who you are, to be respected for who you are, to bring about new ideas alongside the other kings here at Royal Instinct, to form friendships in order to survive the oncoming assault.
Cannot be overstated. But the free folk are hearing what Jon has to say, and what he says makes sense. This free folk gentleman even acknowledges this king-like move.
At least with King Crow, there's a chance.
This moment at Hardhome is where Jon transforms entirely. He becomes a unifier, a strategist, a leader who can bring enemies together under a shared vision. And this kind of leadership is exactly what kings do. And people follow kings, people follow leaders when they don't have to.
Yeah, you have to present yourself as a king and give the people a choice to follow you or not. However, with the alternatives that the elites will be giving them, right, they will have no choice but to follow you because you provide a better alternative, right? However, you have to decide whether you want to crown yourself a king, whether you want to present yourself as a king. Make that choice. I want you to embrace your reality, to embrace all your gifts, all your powers, all the insight that you have. Embrace your life purpose, right? Become somebody who is seen as a genius, somebody who is seen as a subject matter expert. And because you have that expertise, you'll be able to garner attention, to be able to get authority, be seen as a point of authority, and people will naturally want to be around you, naturally want to follow you, ask you for your advice. And at that point, it will be easy for you to be seen as a king and to form your kingdom.
But of course, not all of them do follow him.
That's our enemy.
Yeah, and when people don't want to follow you, don't cry about it, don't worry about it, because for every hater that you have, there'll be another person that truly loves you and embraces your royal kingdom that you're building.
That has always been our enemy.
The downside of choice is that sometimes people choose the course that's not in their best interest. But because the conversation happened, the new framing has been proposed, when under the gun, so to speak, people will come around, especially when it affects them or they see it with their own eyes. So what's our takeaway here? What can we learn? Well, first, influence isn't about being liked. It's about being clear. Second, people don't move for ideals. They move for outcomes, especially outcomes that affect them personally. And third, the fastest way to unite enemies is not persuasion, it's a reframing of the threat.
Yeah, and here at Raw Instinct, we are providing clarity. We are showing the people what the outcomes will be, and we are reframing their negative perceptions, okay? The clarity that we provide is that there will be an alternative to the oncoming problems that the world has, to the oncoming wars that are coming. The outcome is either you can fight with us and prosper, or you can remain a slave in the old system where you'll be literally, raped, where you'll be pillaged for all your resources. You'll be used up, and when AI comes, you will probably be discarded. And the reframe that we provide is that the destiny is in our own choices. Okay, we take responsibility, we create our own freedom, we create our own future by crowning ourselves and embracing our royal instinct. If you understand what I'm saying, if you understand what I'm doing, then reach out to me. Let's work together. You know, if you don't know how to become a king, what your passion in life is, how to become a subject matter expert, I can help you with that too. Let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what you want to do in this world. Let me know how you believe the world should be run. But that is it for today. Thank you very much. And I will see you tomorrow.